Okay, it's been a little while, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. Without further ado, we have Uncle James Bashir in the house. Uncle, how are we doing?
I'm doing well, and I hope that you are too. And it's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, it's been a little while, Uncle. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into things. Number of things. First of all, obviously, Vlad Sirenko. We saw as advertised at first. He was going to be fighting Michael Wallisch, who just recently fought not too long ago. Joe Joyce gave a fighting account of himself, and then what happened?
Well, he said that he had an injury, that he couldn't go through with the fight.
Okay, and then in steps in Rudenko. Is it the same Rudenko I'm thinking? Or is it a different Rudenko?
That fought
that Rudenko. Okay. So what was the thinking behind Rudenko?
Well, I really don't like the fight, and I made it clear to the powers that be in the Vlad Sirenko camp that I really don't like the fight. But, Vlad said that he's trained and he wants to go through this fight at the end of the year. I really don't like the fight, but, he's made his mind up to go with it, so I have to prepare for it.
Why don't you like the Rudenko fight? Is it the quality?
I don't like Vlad to compete against another Ukrainian fighter unless he absolutely has to. I just don't like it, because the Ukrainian fighters, they're very prideful fighters, and they always want to prove something when they come in the ring. They always out to prove something. I just don't like the chemistry.
Okay. You'd rather him not fight a Ukrainian fighter?
Yes, I'd rather for him not to fight him, because they always, you got one Ukrainian fighting another Ukrainian, and both of them, the Ukrainians are tough guys mentally, and they always want to prove that they belong, So
but then you have grudge fights, you have grudge matches, and you have that sort of local rivalry intensity. If you're going through the ranks, if he was trying to being Ukrainian, the best fighter in Ukraine outside, obviously, Alexander Usyk, then surely a rival bout would show what Sirenko's internal fortitude is like when he's going to fight somebody who's on the same patch as him.
I don't have any doubt about, the final resolve to take the fight. I just think that Wallisch would have been a better fight. I like the fight better. I don't like to get for this tit for tat local rivalry kind of stuff. I'm trying to win the heavyweight championship of the world, and I'm trying to do it my way. My way, and getting into these local rivalries is just like camp rivalries. You're there to be a sparring partner for the champion or the principal, and then you get into these local rivalries the way Dillian White and Anthony Joshua was doing in the training camp of Vladimir Klitschko. I had to tell them, I had to go to both guys and tell them that, hey man, y'all can't continue this rivalry here. Y'all can take it back to London and do whatever you want to do, but y'all are here to help the heavyweight champion of the world prepare for his fight. If y'all can't break up this rivalry thing, then you take it back to London and do what you want to do.
So, is there any sort of contentiousness between Sirenko and Rudenko? Has this Rudenko fight been made because there's been some murmurs from Rudenko saying he doesn't rate Sirenko or anything like that?
They sparred before, but I don't know that there was anything left from the sparring that they had. I don't think so. That I don't know, but I think that leading up to the fight, the people here, one side is going to choose for Rudenko, somebody's going to choose Vlad Sirenko, and then you're going to have a rivalry. It's going to spill out into the fight, So I caution Vlad to not get caught up into no foolish atmosphere where he's trying to contend with him. The fight smart, to fight very smart. because Rudenko is a very resilient guy. You know, he stands in. I don't know that he's ever been stopped.
I think he got, did he? Is it Rudenko?
I don't think that, from my knowledge, he's never been stopped. He's a very resilient guy. He stands in and he fights.
Okay. Okay. What did Povetkin do with him?
Povetkin went the distance with him. Okay. Everybody goes the distance with him. That I've seen, they go the distance with him.
Okay. It sounds that they say there's no smoke without fire. It sounds to me that there may have been some talking between the camps at some point, and something that happened in SPAR. I don't know, and because you would know better. And it usually happens with Sirenko thinks he's somebody, but you have to come through me first. That sort of situation, you know. You have to show me he's something.
Yeah. I can see him thinking like that, and like I said, he's going to try to prove himself. He's going to try to stand there, and he's going to try to upset the apple cart by beating Sirenko. And as our position, that no, he's not going to do anything. He's going to get in line, and then he's going to sit down like the guy, like the other 18 guys before him.
Rudenko has never been stopped yet. Povetkin took him the distance. There we go. It's an interesting fight there. An interesting fight there for Sirenko.
It's an interesting fight. Now, you know, and I don't make it. I don't hide the fact that I don't like the fight. I don't think it means that much that we should be getting in a fight, especially at the last part of the year. You know.
And you as a trainer, how much of your voice is actually valued? I mean, surely now your voice, if you say I don't value, I don't.
Yeah. They say we value you, but still, you know, there are those pals that be in the camp. They're gonna push past, say, oh, we can beat this guy. It's always gonna be somebody outside of boxing or somebody that doesn't understand the logistics of boxing that says we can beat this guy, we can take this guy, and those influences weigh heavy with Vlad Sirenko. So, you know, it's a fight. You know, I've got to prepare for it now. There's no turning back on. So
let me ask you this question: when you were with Usyk, did you have similar issues in terms of?
It's always going to be like that. I can go back years and years and years fighting every fighter that I've been with. It's always going to be those influences that outweigh the thinking and the logic of the trainers.
So I can understand somebody now like Adam Booth, who is trainer and manager, because when you're trainer and manager, you pull rank on all that nonsense. Because you can say, yeah, you're fighting this guy. Yeah, you're fighting this guy. No, you're not fighting this guy, and I've got final say on it. Have you ever considered that yourself as a trainer manager, or is that just too much for you? Because that would shut all that sort of talk down.
No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, I mean, you can have family members that will outweigh management.
Wow.
If the family members, whoever taps into the emotion of the fighter. Emmanuel Stewart used to tell me many, many years ago, he said, be careful of the guy or the girl who has the voice inside the fighter's head.
Yeah.
Be careful of them. Because once they get in their head, there's nothing nobody can do. So that's one of the tidbits of knowledge that I got from Emmanuel Stewart.
And so
always be careful of those. He says always have to be careful of that, you know.
But when you relate this back to Vlad Sirenko, what was Vlad's thinking?
You know, I've trained. I'm prepared. I'll take this fight. I'll take this fight and I'll win this fight. You know. You know, he's giving everybody a hard time. You know, he says it's a challenge for my mentality, a challenge for my overall skills, and I want to take this fight and I want to prove that I belong. I want to prove that I belong. So I'm taking a tough fight in Rudenko, and we're going to get in there. We're going to see what he got, and he's going to see what I got. I said, okay.
Is this more of a macho thing?
No, I don't think it. I don't think so. I think that Vlad Sirenko is itching to move up. He's itching to take on better opposition. So this is one of those guys that has never been stopped, and his goal is that I can stop him.
If you had your way, who would you have fought instead of then, Vlad? Instead of Rudenko?
The guy that pulled out the fight. That's the guy I want to fight.
You'd have waited for Wallisch instead.
Yeah, I'd like to fight Wallisch if that was the guy, But Rudenko was all right.
Who's better, Wallisch or Rudenko at this stage of their career?
I'd say Rudenko because Rudenko's never been stopped. Wallisch has been stopped before. So I say Rudenko. But Rudenko's been under fire now. He's been in there. He's been in there with some pretty rugged guys. And I mean, Povetkin was hitting him hard. But, he didn't go, So it's a testimony of his will, his desire, and his heart. He's not going to lay down. He's not going to lay down.
How active has Rudenko been? What was Rudenko's last fight? Do you know?
Rudenko is pretty active, as I recall. He's pretty active. And if he's not fighting, actually, he's always in a training camp with some up-and-coming fighter.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Rudenko's been in there. He's been in there with some names. I'm sure if you look down his record that he's been in there with some pretty good guys. So, and nobody stopped him. And nobody put him, well, I think one of the guys put him down, but nobody stopped him. So that tells me that we're in for a fight. People say, well, who is the guy? People always say, who is the guy? But they're not the ones that's in that ring taking those punches.
No, when I heard the name Rudenko, I was like, oh, okay. So you're gonna fight Rudenko instead of Wallisch? All right. I was like, okay.
And in my mind, it's a tougher fight.
That's what I thought.
It's a tougher fight. So, if Vlad Sirenko said that we go, so we go. He's the boss, so we got to go.
Andre asked the question, is Rudenko the guy that fought the Chinese heavyweight Zhang?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Zaru says, thanks. As a boxing fan, one learns a lot with Bashir.
I'm grateful that I can do that. That's my whole position in this life. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Please don't take anything I say or do here for granted, because I won't always be here. Everybody got a number. Everybody got a number, and my number is coming. Your number is coming. Everybody listening, everybody got a number. Absolutely. So I won't always be here. So don't take for granted what I'm saying, because I'm sincere and I'm dedicated to my craft. I'm dedicated. I'm a scientist when it comes to this boxing.
Uncle,
I can't read. I can't read and write, but I know boxing.
I have a back catalogue of Uncle Bashir. Trust me, I've got a back catalogue of you.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? He's been in there with the Zilly Zhang. And I know Zhang and I trained in the same gyms before, and he's a big, strong, tough guy.
I'm sure Zhang, was it not? I'm sure, was it Tommy Brooks that said he was going to train Zhang? I could be wrong.
Tommy Brooks' son-in-law trained Zhang.
Right. Because I know because Tommy Brooks was going to train Zhang because he was leaving David Price. I'm leaving Price because Price don't listen. I'm going to go and train that 7-foot Chinese guy. So, yeah, I guess that's how it's sort of, okay. He said that he calls Zhang, Rudenko calls Zhang hell.
He called them hell.
He calls them hell. Rudenko calls Zhang hell.
Yeah, because he was hitting Rudenko. He was hitting him hard.
And Rudenko came back at him.
And Rudenko came back at him. So I know that we're in a fight.
I tell you, here's a question. How good is Sirenko's left hook? I mean, is it one of the best left hooks in the heavyweight division? I mean, it's a bit of a jump to say that, but I mean, the way he flattened Ustinov with that one left hook. I mean,
I think it was the right hand. I think the right hand is what got Ustinov.
Was it right hand? I thought it was the left hook. Okay.
No, it was a right hand. It's a double jab, one to the chest, one to the lower body, and right hand over the top. Right hand is the one that got him. But I think that Sirenko has a really, really, really good left hook, and I spoke to him Wednesday or Thursday in the gym, and I pointed out to him that you've got to believe about the power in the left hook. You got to believe in your punching power. You got to believe that you can hurt people. You know, you can't just go out there and like you rolling the dice and waiting for the number to come up. No, you put your lock and stock into your punches, and then you see what happens from there.
What does a knockout win mean? If he knocked Rudenko out cold, like flat, inside 6 rounds.
Oh man, that would be a great way to end the year if he can do what nobody has done to put Rudenko out. That would make my year end very, very happy. You know, I put so much. I put so much into Vlad Sirenko because Vlad Sirenko makes me want to work. Vlad Sirenko touches my spirit, my inner spirit, and he makes me want to work. He makes me want to get in there, to get in shape, to be with him, to work with him throughout his climb to the heavyweight championship. It's something about Vlad Sirenko that touches my spirit and makes me want to work. It makes me want to think of different ways to help him to be better.
Andre asked the question, how many years have you been working with Sirenko now? 5 years, I'd say. 4 or 5 years?
I've been working with him since the Alexander Usyk fought Machuno. I've been working with him since the Usyk took the Machuno fight. I met him in the Usyk camp in California. So if you go back to Machuno, the year, that time when he fought Machuno is when Vlad Sirenko and I started working together.
I said 5 years. It could have been 4 years, maybe.
Could you find that out real quick? Could you find that out? That'd be great. You know.
Super fight here. So I'm just repeating it. Here we go. It was the undercard of 17th December 2016. 17th of December 2016.
It was December
2016.
December 2016, right?
Yeah. So at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 years. So I was right.
5 years.
I was right. There you go. See, Uncle?
5 years. Yeah.
So if it's 5 years,
well, I was thinking it was 5 years anyway. I was thinking of 5 years. I always said to Vlad, we've been working for 5 years. So we right on time. This month makes 5 years.
This month it's 4 days actually. 4 days, 5 years.
Okay. 5 years, and like I said, Vlad Sirenko is such a good student. Such a good student, man. He extracts the best out of my mentality and out of my physicality. He extracts it. He makes me want to work. he makes me go to bed anticipating getting up the next morning to work with him. I'm always thinking about how I can make it better, how I can make Vlad Sirenko smarter in that ring. And as I said to Vlad, and I say it to him quite often, I said, don't put your lock and stock in punching, because there are a lot of punches in the heavyweight division, but not very many of them can box. So I try to put more emphasis on Vlad Sirenko's boxing skills. I tried to put him in there yesterday morning with Vladimir Klitschko.
Mm-hmm.
And Vladimir, Vladimir like said that he didn't feel like doing it. You know, I said, well, let's just move around. He said, I just told you, man, I don't feel like doing it. I said, well, when can we do it? He said, hey, who am I talking to here? He said, look, I'm in here to work out. I'll let you know. All right. So Vladimir's going to let us know next week. Can we get a couple of rounds with him? I just said, just a couple. He said, look, I don't need nobody here trying to prove nothing. I said, no, nobody's trying to prove nothing. I just want to get the experience under his belt, you know?
On the subject of Vladimir Klitschko, the video you sent me of you and him together, he looked in really good shape. And he looked like a man that was ready to make a comeback. He really did look like a man ready to make a comeback. Like he was on the cusp of saying, I'm coming back.
Did you see him in that picture? Did you see it?
I saw him in the video you sent to me, you and him talking. Yeah. I sent the video. He looks like he's ready to come back. And if it were
the man is in
next
shape.
year, next year, Uncle, for sure, he's got to be coming back.
I feel that he's going to come back. You know, I don't.
And do you know what?
I don't probe him about it. I don't ask him about it. I don't probe him about it. You know, I just act normal when we're together. I just ask him. I just act normal. I don't say nothing about comebacks or anything. But I did ask him yesterday, and we went over to the scale, and he got on the scale, and he's 240 pounds, the same weight he was back 6, 7, 8 years ago. He's still 240.
Damn.
Yeah. Yesterday morning, inside the Olympic Training Center here in Kiev, Ukraine, he got on the scale and he was 241 pounds. That's the same weight he was 6, 7 years ago when he retired.
Let me ask you this question. You know Usyk, you know Klitschko. I've heard different stories, but if Klitschko came back to fight Usyk, who wins that fight in 2022?
First of all, that fight would probably never take place. I doubt it very seriously. But it would be a very, very, very tough fight for Vladimir Klitschko to box with Usyk. You know, very, very tough fight. Vladimir would have to nail him somewhere in that fight to slow Usyk down. You know, if Usyk was allowed to move the way that Usyk moves, it would be very difficult for Vladimir Klitschko to beat him. But like I said, punching power reduces movement and all those other things. But Usyk is such an awkward, energetic guy in the ring. It's hard to catch him clean, you know?
I'll answer that question for you, and then Uncle can come and answer that question afterwards. Those type of guys, you got to get inside on their chest, stand on their toes, and rough them up and get inside, back them up, beat them up. Now, them guys like Usyk and Lomachenko, you can't fight those guys mid to long range. You got to get up close and personal, inside fighting, rough them up, break the body down.
I think because they got awkward styles.
Yeah,
they're both lefties.
Mm.
And they're always in tremendous shape to fight.
Mm.
That's one of the biggest things. They're always in tremendous shape to fight. And they can go 20 rounds to where they train. I've been in the gym with them both, and I've seen it. You know, those guys are workaholics in the gym. When they come in the ring, they're in 101% shape. And if you're not in shape, you're going to get dead tired trying to fight them.
Is it a lost art of inside fighting that's allowing these guys to do what they're doing today?
I'm not too sure about that there. I think if you got on the inside of Lomachenko, Alexander Usyk, you're just going to find a different version of them. You're going to find the different inside fighting, because I'm sure they know how to do it. I'm certain that they know how to do it.
Oh,
and
that guy, like Salido. Look at the two guys, Salido and what's his name, Lopez. Both guys that fought Lomachenko were both guys were rough, tough, come to fight, don't care about your reputation, want to hit you and hurt you, and will do anything they can to get inside and rough you up. And they're the two guys that Lomachenko lost to.
I think in the Lopez fight, I don't know, but I don't think that Lomachenko was 101% in that fight. I think there was some things going on with his physical attributes that didn't allow him to perform like he was trying to preserve something in that ring, because he didn't fight for the first 6 rounds.
He didn't.
So he might have been, trying to preserve something or trying to save something. I don't know what it was in his physical attributes, but I think that when you put pressure on those guys, I think they're going to come up. I think they're going to fight. Lomachenko and Usyk.
Those, the type of, every time I see those stars, the old school American doghouse, those type of guys that are just roughhouse, they may have had like 20 defeats on their record, but they just come to fight like a Burt Cooper, and them sort of guys that didn't care. They just got inside and just didn't care about your reputation and just came to have a fight with you, and will use all old school tactics, get their head in,
one of the things in boxing is that the boxing trainers now, they try to make most of them, I won't say all of them, but I'm saying most of the boxing trainers, is they try to make boxers into something that they are not. And one of the first things I learned about training boxers is to extract from the best attributes. If the guy is a slugger, I'm not going to try to create a boxer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to safeguard. I'm going to try to put a shield around his slugging attributes. I'm going to try to make him the best slugger in the world. I'm not going to try to create a boxer and try to teach him how to box when his forte is being a slugger. So one of the things I want to do is I want to teach the guy how to be a good slugger, how to defend himself being a good slugger, and let him stay where he's comfortable at, especially if he's up in age, if he's coming along, 28, 29 years old, I don't want to go in there and try to teach him how to box then, so I want to try to teach him how to be if he's a good boxer, then I'm not going to try to make a punch out of him. I'm not going to try to make a slug out of him. I'm going to try to teach him how to make life complicated for the person that he's opposing.
What did you make of Lomachenko and Comey last night?
I was hoping that they didn't have to pull up an ambulance ringside to save Comey. He just got beaten up, and in my mind, Lomachenko really could have knocked him out.
Yeah.
But
carried him.
Yeah.
I think he likes Comey.
I think Comey is trained by the same trainer that Deverenchenko got. Yeah, Deverenchenko just lost too, right?
Yeah. Andre Rozelle. I tell you something, I was looking at Lomachenko last night and I thought about Kambosos. I thought, you know what? You need to swerve a fight with Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko beats Kambosos. He does well against all the rest of them, but he doesn't beat Lomachenko. Your thoughts?
No, I don't think he beats Lomachenko. I think a lot of them won't beat Lomachenko. That's one of the reasons why none of them has fought Lomachenko. I mean, where else have you seen a time where a guy comes in a division and none of the top guys fights him? Oh my God, this is terrible in the sport of boxing. where you don't have the top guys meeting the top guys. Lomachenko has been there, and none of the top. Gary Russell didn't never come back to fight him again. I think that Gary Russell should have came back and fought Lomachenko by now. When they went 3-4 years ago, the fight they should have had a rematch.
What the hell, Garrett? Once a year champion. Once a year defense.
What happened?
Once a year defense. He fights once a year. He's like Santa Claus. Comes out once a year, fights, goes away. Guy Russell Jr.
And he's talking this nonsense about fighting.
Moving up in weight to fight this person and that person.
He's talking this nonsense about fighting Terrence. You know, Terrence. You know, and he's a featherweight talking about fighting a welterweight champion. So I'm thinking that Gary Russell should have asked for a rematch against Lomachenko when Lomachenko's at that weight. And then you got Brian Garcia, Tank Davis, Devin Haney. You don't have none of these guys knocking on the door saying, "I want to fight." They should have been at the fight left man saying, "I want to fight you next." But nobody's in a hurry to fight. Nobody's in a hurry to fight nobody.
Why do people say that when a guy's in a tough and competitive fight, he's exposed? Tank Davis fought the other night, and he was in with a guy that was shorter than him, that came to fight and came to win. And because he threw punches back, he hit Tank, he caused him some problems, made it uncomfortable for him. Because of that, and because it's competitive, suddenly Tank's been exposed. Why is that, Uncle? Why do people talk nonsense? A competitive fight means people exposed.
But boxing insiders, people that know the sport, understands that boxers are just people, and everybody goes to work sometime, and they just don't feel like it. No matter how much they try to muster up a good showing, today is just not my day. I don't feel like doing it. I want to go home and watch Netflix. I don't feel like being in this ring today. So that's what people fail to realize. That boxers are just people, and Tank probably didn't feel up. Everybody else coming in the ring against the champion, they do feel like it. This is my chance. But Tank probably said, "Oh boy, here go another one of these guys," you know. But if they fought again next month, it would be a different fight because mentally, Tank Davis would be better.
I like what I saw from Tank because he got hit. He got shook up a few times, but he still came back and fought. He rode out the storm. He took his licks, and he came back in the fight. I like that about him. A lot of guys in that situation.
Everybody says, "Oh, give him back to me." And I used to tell my guys in the locker room, "You just had him. Get that guy." In the locker room, they say, "Get that guy back. I want to fight him again." But dude, you didn't know that when you just fought him. But you didn't have the same enthusiasm when you fight them this time? What's going to be different 6 months down the road?
Oh,
I dismiss that kind of. I don't get enthusiastic about that anymore. After 52 years, I don't get excited about that kind of stuff. About if I coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Devin Haney, Uncle. I don't rate that guy. I don't rate that guy at all. I don't rate him. He seems to fight in patches. He seems to start off okay, and it's like his defense seems to fall apart.
Devin Haney is a good fighter. He's not a great fighter. He's a good fighter.
Yeah, a good fighter. He's not a great fighter.
All right.
And he's no Mayweather.
And there's some things that's going on, in my opinion. I don't know the inside story, but in my opinion, there's some things that's going on right in this circle that's holding him back.
Absolutely.
First of all, if a fighter, male or female, if you want to get onto the road of success, first of all, you got to eradicate the yes men. Get them out of your camp. You know what I'm saying? Get them out of your camp because they're not going to serve you any purpose. You're not gonna. Nobody's gonna serve any. That's why I go right to Vlad Sirenko. If something is wrong inside of our camp, I go right to Vlad Sirenko and say, "Listen, I don't like this, or I don't like that." You know, and that's nonsense. And this, and Vlad is very balanced. He said, "Okay, all right, I'll straighten it out." And Latimer Klitschko the same thing. You know, I'd go to the Latimer and I said, "Latimer, I don't like this here. I don't like that there." And Latimer said, "Okay, let me take care of it." Never got bent out of shape about me coming to him saying that I didn't like something. I say, "I don't like this here. I don't like that there." You know, and I think that one of the things is with Devin is like I've seen it many times in boxing. There's always a bunch of yes men around that tell them that, you know what, you can't do wrong. You can't do no wrong. You can't do no wrong. And you go and you write this and you write that. You write that. No, Devin, you need people that's going to say, listen, you need to correct this. You need to correct that before you get to this level. Don't wait till you get to that level to try to correct your stuff. You need to correct it now.
Now.
You know what I'm saying? I see some things in that last fight that he was doing wrong. And he got caught a couple of times in that last fight, you know? And that's to be expected in a fight, but not as much as he was getting caught, you know?
But he's getting caught. For a guy who's meant to be the next Mayweather, he's getting caught way too many. He's not even Mayweather. I don't know where people get this Mayweather thing. He's nothing like Mayweather. Nothing like Mayweather.
Yeah, they'll find out, you know, but it's like a lot of boxers, they wait until things happen to try to correct things. The whole idea of having good people around you, people with vision, people with boxing knowledge, the whole thing is to learn from other mistakes. Watch the videos of the fights that took place long before you even was born. Look at those artists. And if you can learn from looking at those watches, you just settle down and sit back and have somebody there to point out the flaws. And you can learn from those guys going forward instead of waiting for something to happen and then say, "Oh, now I'm going to correct it." No, that's not boxing. That's buffoonery. You know, you're surrounded by a bunch of court jesters, and not just Devin Haney. This goes on all the time in boxing.
Of course it does.
You know, I've traveled all over the world, and I've sat back and I've observed, and you always got somebody that's coming in with this antic or this knowledge or that knowledge, and it doesn't mean nothing once that bell rings. Once that bell rings, and you get hit on the chin, or you get hit on the temple, or you get hit around the body, everything changes. Everything changes. And your whole makeup, everything changes. Now it's a battle of life and death.
I tell you what, I'd stick Cambosos in with Haney tomorrow, no problem. No problem. No problem.
Cambosos, he came to fight.
I'm telling you, I'd put him with Haney, no problem. Because I think Haney may start well.
In my mind, he spanked Lopez. He spanked him.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I told you I could see it coming because the way Lopez's energy was, you can see it coming. Too arrogant, and his dad. My God, what a clown!
Yeah,
he's saying that his dad was saying he's going to move up. He could move up and beat Canelo. He's the answer to beating Canelo. What kind of a clown says stuff like that?
Listen, he can't beat Josh Taylor.
No, he can't. No way.
If Lopez goes up to fight Josh Taylor, he's going to get knocked out.
Absolutely.
You know? So, again, you got somebody being a court jester, telling you this and you that, you know, this is right and that's right. I just don't have no need for that kind of stuff in my training camps. And I caution any fighter that I'm training against it. You know, if you want to be successful, the first thing you got to be able to do is accept constructive criticism. That's the first thing. In any practice in life, the people around you has got to be able to tell you whether you like it or not, what's good for you, what's bad for you. And if you say, well, you can't tell me what to do, then you don't need those people around you. If you're paying those people and you can't pay the people and then say, well, you can't tell me what to do. You're paying them to tell you what to do. Because sometimes you can't see everything and everybody around you, what's going on. So you got to have somebody that you entrust. Someone that you entrust to tell you correct stuff, right from wrong, and then move on.
Couple of things. Another guy I'm going to add right into the same mix as Haney, and I think they're on the same, they fight in a similar sort of way, is that Boots Ennis. Now, I used to have Boots Ennis on our channel, right? I think he's a talented fighter. What I don't like is the way he gets hit when he's landing shots. He leaves his chin in the air, and he seems to get caught in transition with throwing his own punches. He seems to get caught in the middle, in between throwing shots. Don't like it. And he's sometimes had his chin up in the air, getting caught in between shots. So you can time Boots Ennis very well. For a guy who's meant to be a counter puncher, he gets hit too often like that.
I think Boots is 25, 26-0 with 25 KOs. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. 26.
But it's the level of opposition he's getting tagged with. It's the level of opposition he's getting tagged like that, Uncle. It's not like he's getting tagged like against top tier opposition.
Listen. What I'm saying is, he's a young guy. He's feeling his Cheerios, and he's going to learn from those discrepancies that he's having in the ring. He's going to learn from it, And if he's fortunate, he'll learn it before he gets knocked down or knocked out. He'll learn. He'll grow. I think he's on the right track. What is this other kid? Stenios. His name is Stenios, right?
Never heard of him.
Stenios. He's getting ready to fight the Ugas.
Okay, I'll look at him.
Stenios. I like that young. Yes, he's a welterweight.
Okay.
And just look on Ugas record, and you'll see his name. And I think that he's a legitimate welterweight, tough guy. I'd like to see him and Boots mix it up.
Okay.
Because
Gucci comes out and says Theo diagnosed with a ruptured esophagus. I can't pronounce the word. Esophagus. Maybe got that off the world's strongest man when he took a monster punch in the gym. So
I think that Ennis is the kind of guy that's going to rise to anybody's occasion. You set this level up here, he's going to rise. I think he's that kind of guy that's going to rise. Yeah, he got some rough spots here and there, but for the most part, he's a studious guy.
Yeah,
he's accurate. He's accurate, and he's focused on what he has to do, and he's always prepared. I saw this other kid that was confronting him on the internet of Blair or Flair.
Yeah, Blair Cobbs. Blair Cobbs, yeah.
Yeah, I like him, because he gets some razzmatazz to the division, so he fits in there. He's talking the talk. He's talking the talk, and I think that he'll walk the walk.
Oh, okay.
I want to see that. I want to see that kind of enthusiasm in the division.
Uncle, one guy who's smashing it in the gym. He's putting the rounds in. He's doing the hard work. He's smashing it, and his name is Conor Benn.
Yes.
Last night he knocked out Chris Algieri. I will say this point before I throw it over to you. You can't keep fighting guys like that. He said that was a step-up fight. I don't know how that's a step-up fight. The guy, Chris Algieri, with all due respect, left boxing a while ago, and he was doing more things, being a chef for Danny Jacobs. So I don't understand how he becomes a world contender. And the thing is, Conor Benn's not getting hit back by anyone with any punching power. If anybody hits him back on that chin, there's a problem. I don't know how he got Chris Algieri last night, which was fine. But I mean, it was jumping around like he just knocked out like the guy, like a
well, I
world
think
title
that
eliminator.
Conor Benn says that he wants the winner between Amir Khan and the other guy from London.
Kelbrook. That's gonna be a fun fight. That's gonna be a fun fight, Uncle.
Well, he said, he says, well, he wants the winner that day. So I think that Conor is in the right place to make those kind of baby steps, and he's doing the right thing. He's fighting making those kind of steps. But again, you know, he's suffering too from being in the company of a bunch of yes men.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have somebody there say, hey, slow your roll, you know, slow your roll and make correct moves. The boxing is an unforgiving sport. You know, when you get tapped in boxing, sometimes you don't correct. It's hard to correct situations after they happen. I like Devin Haney. I like Devin Haney. But if I was the trainer for Devin Haney, I would come in and say, listen, you can do what you want to do, all right? But if you value what I'm telling you, you reduce this yes man stuff. I was there in Vegas in the same gym with Devin Haney, and man, he must have had about 4 or 5 court jesters around him. You know, in my mind, they were court jesters. You know, I like Devin Haney. He has a nice disposition, and I think that he can go places. But you got to start right now. You know, I don't like a bunch of foolishness. You know, in the training camp. I talk to Vlad Sirenko all of the time. And Vlad Sirenko, like I said, I love the guy because he's approachable. He's approachable. And he appreciates me. You know, yeah, Vlad is like other human beings. He kicks and squirms sometimes when I'm telling him, especially when he's in the ring boxing. I know I get on his nerves sometimes, but that's my position to get on your nerves. If you give me what I ask, then you won't have to worry about me saying nothing. I won't say nothing. When I see stuff that you're not doing that you could do,
I'm gonna tell you about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you about it. Look, you got to do this here. You got to do it there. I know I'm getting on your nerve, but you got to do this here. I tell them every single day, and even sometimes when we're not in the gym, I say you got to punch here. You got this. What you got to do. I'm always talking boxing. Hey, sometimes Vlad will say to me, hey, man, can we not talk about boxing today? And then he says, hey, man, you sent me 1,000 messages. But you know what those messages are? Those messages are about Sonny Liston, Alexis Arguello, Pernell Whitaker. You know, those messages of all those 80 videos that I sent them, all those messages were about boxing, about nothing but boxing. And I constantly send them. Yes, educate. I'm always, I call them in the middle of the night and say, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm in the bed. I said, well, look, when you get time, go to the video, go to this video and check this video out.
You're dropping the seeds.
Yes. Go in there. I said, look, go in there. Look, I'll go back and check Sonny Liston and Cleveland Williams out. You understand? Go and check Muhammad Ali versus this person now. That versus that person now. You know, I told him that Mike Tyson, for the most part, Mike Tyson was only hot for 3 years. He's hot for 3 years, and after that day, he fell off the planet Earth because he got too much too soon, and all the rest of his career he was just hustling. But 3 years he was on fire.
Right.
People say, well, he wasn't fighting nobody. Well, you try knocking out everybody. Mike Tyson was knocking out everybody. You go out and knock out 30 so-called bums. That's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Even you got to hustle to do that there. So I try to tell them, look at the career of Mike Tyson. Look at the career of Sonny Liston. Look at the career, especially of George Foreman and Sonny Liston. I always tell them, check out the career, because Vlad Sirenko is actually bigger than both of those guys.
What? He's bigger than George Foreman?
He's bigger than George Foreman.
You're talking about,
Huh?
you're talking about young George Foreman now.
Yes.
Not big George Foreman.
He was big George Foreman then, because 6'4" was a big thing in the heavyweight division then.
Yeah.
And George Foreman was 6'4", 220 pounds. Vlad is 6'4" and 244 pounds.
Wow.
All right. And Sonny Liston was a big guy too, but neither one of those guys weren't as big as Vlad Sirenko. I don't think they punched as hard as Vlad Sirenko. You know? And I always tell them, go back and look at the films, go back and study. Because George Foreman was a modified version of Sonny Liston. George Foreman got a lot of his antics, a lot of his style, he got it from Sonny Liston. He was a sparring partner for Liston. And a lot of George Foreman's attributes were derived from being in association with Sonny Liston. So I always tell Vlad, go back and observe the Sonny Liston and George Foreman. Always, those were legitimate fighters, and they were power punchers, and they didn't play. They didn't play. Once they hurt you, you were done.
Yeah, gone. Yeah.
All right?
Absolutely.
They didn't hurt you and let you escape. When Sonny Liston and George Foreman hurt you, once they had you on the hook, you were gone. Not unless you
while you're at it, let's talk about, and I don't want to cut you off, but I want to talk about another heavyweight great, Anthony Joshua, and his latest interview where he was talking about, I don't know, did you see the interview? He keeps doing these weird interviews, Uncle, and the weird, he was describing about, it was so weird. He was talking about whether he should fight Usyk again or not. You know, and he was talking about building a house, and he used the analogy of, I don't think it was built. Somebody's gonna come and tell me, bring it. But he was talking about how he has to assess the situation and see where there's a good deal that he should sidestep the Usyk fight so that Fury could fight Usyk instead.
No, I don't think that, Anthony. I think AJ wants to fight Fury. I think that AJ asked for some astronomical amount that he knew that they're not going to give him, so the fight's going to go off. It's going to go off.
What, Usyk
I'm sure it's going.
Joshua?
Yes, it's going to go off. Because if it doesn't go off, he'd be the laughing stock of boxing.
He is the laughing stock of boxing at the moment. He's the laughing stock of boxing at the moment.
Well, it's easy to be laughing stock when you got, damn near $100 million, $200 million in your pocket. So he doesn't mind. He can sit back in his spacious living room. And
don't you find these interviews doing very weird? They're getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, Anthony Joshua doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. You know, he's a good fighter. Not a great fighter, but he's a good fighter, and he can get better. He can get better, but he has to.
Remember, he has his lifetime contract now. And I went and studied that lifetime contract, and it basically says that the people that sign him look after his professional and personal affairs, which is what you referred to as a slave contract. That is what Anthony Joshua has now. His personal and professional affairs.
Well, what can I say? What can I say, Anthony Joshua will tell me or anybody else, he say, well, you don't know what's going on behind the scene, which I don't. It's a good deal. I don't know because I don't know.
A lifetime contract, Uncle, where the matchroom boxing, matchroom sport control his professional and his personal affairs. That's like you sign a long-term contract with BWTM Sports, and I control your personal affairs and your professional affairs. That means I control everything about you. I control where you go to eat, who you talk, where you eat, who you talk to, who your girlfriend is. I control everything about you. Who you train, when you train, what time you train, what interviews you do. That's a slave, is it not?
Yeah, well, you know, he's in the driver's seat.
Well, he isn't, is he? He was in the driver's seat until he signed that contract.
Like I said, he'll come back and say, well, you don't understand what's going on behind the scene. And we don't. So we just got to keep on moving. He'll say that,
Okay.
that it's a beneficial contract for me. So who's to say it's not?
Fair enough. When a fighter is going for his career and he's avoiding big punches, is that a sign to be concerned? I was always taught that fighters that avoid big punches be wary of their durability. Is that true?
Fighters that avoid big punches are smart. You know, smart. You know, if I can avoid a big punch, then I'm going to do it. That's a smart thing to do. Because those big punches, those big punches, they'll catch up with you. They'll catch up with you. So it's a smart thing. You can, you know, they can say what they want to say. When you avoid big, it just shows that you have a inaccurate IQ of what to do and what not to do. Because, like I said, I've been around a lot of boxers in my lifetime, and sometimes it's not pretty, you know, how they wound up in their life, you know. Mm-hmm. Like Deontay was saying that, you know, that Mark Breland should have let him go out on the shield, and I'm here to say to Deontay, that's not a wise thing to do, you know. That's not wise to do, because after you go out on your shield, then just a week later, nobody won't give a fuck. Nobody won't give a fuck. You'll be out of your mind, walking around slobbing on yourself, and life will go on.
But now we look at the fight. But if we look at the fight afterwards, the third fight of Fury, he got off the deck and dropped Fury, right?
Yeah, but at what cost? See, we can't see now. Yeah, he might have gone on in that first time they stopped the fight. What was that? The second fight?
Second fight, they stopped the fight. The third fight.
Yeah. Well, you know, he might have gone on to do something, but I still wouldn't question Mark Breland. I wasn't there. I don't know the circumstances about why Deontay said Mark did this and Mark said he didn't do that. I don't know about that. I'm staying away from that there.
Okay.
I'm just looking at it from a trainer's point of view. Mm-hmm. You know, he says, look, I'm stopping the fight. You know, my thought is, and has always been and will always be, is I want to be the guy to say, hey, man, you stopped the fight too soon, as opposed to saying, damn, why didn't you stop the fight? Mm. Now the guy's up there in a coma. You know, we don't know whether we're going to be able to revive him, whether he's going to be able to come back. So I'm the guy that wants to be accused of stopping the fight too soon, as opposed to being the guy who stopped the fight too late.
Okay. All right.
I've seen a lot of guys. I've seen a lot of boxers that didn't come out of it. You know.
Richard Colon.
Huh?
Richard Colon.
I mean, over the years, I've seen a lot of guys that didn't come out of it. They get knocked out and they don't come out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Shame what happens.
Monty Barrett with Nikolai Valua. Monty Barrett is a gentleman, you know. I got great respect for Monty Barrett because I told Monty, said, I'm all right. I said, Monty, you're not all right. The fight's over. Let's go. And Monty he just followed me to the ring and he got the ring. You know, the fight's over. There's no sense in us going on now, you know, because I felt that I should stop this fight now because Monty Barrett was exhausted. He was exhausted. It wasn't the fact whether he was hurt or not. I wanted to stop the fight before he got hurt because when you're exhausted, you don't have no control over your neck. You have no control over your faculties, and you're subject to get hit with a big shot. And by your neck being so relaxed, you know, it can damage the spine. You know, you could break the neck, a whole. And I looked at it. I thought that I should have stopped the fight 2 rounds before I did. But influences that was in that corner, which was interrupting me from really thinking. That's why you got to have a disciplined corner, not an emotional, in a cheerleading corner, an emotional corner. No, don't do this, don't do that. Throw the hook, throw the right hand. You know, dude, he doesn't need 15 people telling him what to do. He needs one person telling him what to do, not 15 people.
Mm-hmm. And that person needs to be cool and calm.
You know, so when those people that was there in the court, and they know who they are, I ain't got to call your names. You know who they were talking over me. They was trying to get in instructions between the time I was giving the instructions. It was just out of control. The most calm one that was there was the late great Jimmy Glenn, and Jimmy Glenn was calming those other guys. Right. Jimmy Glenn was the voice of calm, telling everybody just keep calm and let the man talk. You understand? But they were distracting me. There were different points that I could have probably brought up, but when you got an unruly corner, it distracts the trainer from doing what he wants to do because he got to babysit the people in the corner. So I probably would have stopped the fight, Monty Barrett's fight. I think I might have stopped the fight 2 rounds before I did, but I was so distracted with the unruly corner that I didn't observe that how exhausted he was. And I looked at him and I motioned to the referee to stop it, and the referee motioned back to me saying, "Wait a minute." And I said, "No, we got to stop this now." So that's why I stepped in the ring and walked across the ring calmly and said, the fight's over. And the people in the listening audience, they can go to YouTube and watch the Monty Barrett, Nikolai Valua fight, and they can observe for themselves. Those people that were in the corner with me that night were talking and doing little things to distract me. Otherwise, I would have observed and stopped that fight prior to when I did.
Okay.
It's very important to have a balanced, insane corner. This is what causes fighters' deaths. When you have a unruly corner or a corner that's out there guessing with somebody else's life. You know, a lot of guys is in the corner and they're guessing. You know, they just blurting stuff out of their mouth and they're not even really sure what they're blurting out. They're just blurting stuff out their mouth that sounds good, that sounds beneficial. And in reality, they'll know that it's not beneficial. They'll know it. They'll know it's not beneficial. But they'll say it because it sounds cool or sounds right. Or let me just try this or let me try that there. And they don't really believe it. Ingram? Hello? Okay.